To be interested in the positive consequences of conflict is to wonder what purpose the conflict serves, if any. I would say that conflicts serve several objectives. 2 primary objectives directly related to the issue at stake, and 3 secondary objectives, which actually represents the positive consequences that can be derived from the conflict. Let's start with the primary objectives. Remember in the previous section, I told you that conflicts were perceived as bad because they were a sign that something was wrong. And that is precisely what it is. Conflict is a sign of a problem. And avoiding conflict is avoiding addressing that very problem. If problems exist, there is no point in trying to hide them, because there is little chance that these problems will miraculously disappear. To let conflict live and unfold is to give the problems a chance to be addressed and solved. Think of the task conflicts we've already discussed, which are related to disagreements about who is supposed to do what, when, and how. Well, these conflicts are clearly an indication that a problem exists. They arise to draw our attention to the lack of clarity in the system and the need to address it. The second primary purpose of conflict is to draw our attention to changes that have occurred in the system and the need we have to adapt. Think of the family conflicts that occur when a child becomes an adolescent. In part, these conflicts may emerge because the rules that governed the old system no longer fit the reality that our teenager may currently be experiencing. In this case, the conflict tells us that new rules have become necessary and that we need to adapt. These are exactly the same types of phenomena that can occur in the workplace when, for example, the economic situation deteriorates, or in a group of friends when one of the members meets a new romantic partner or goes abroad. Each time the environment in which the system is embedded alters, or each time the composition of the system itself changes, the actors involved in it will need to adapt. Conflict can act as a warning sign. They are the ones that tell us that the system is no longer stable and functional, and that it is time to modify and adapt it, or else it will simply collapse. In sum, the 2 primary purposes of conflict are, on the one hand, to indicate that a problem exists, and on the other hand, to initiate changes in systems that have become obsolete. These 2 primary objectives aside, conflicts are also useful for 3 other reasons. First, the more we encounter conflict and the more we learn to manage it, the more we increase our ability to deal with problems. Part of what we learn is through experience. Never confronting conflict is never giving ourselves the opportunity to sharpen our problem management skills. Second, conflict increases our knowledge of ourselves and of our partners. By observing what makes us react and what makes our partner react, we learn more about what is important to us and to our partner. Similarly, observing what leaves us indifferent shed light on the values that seem least important to us. Finally, conflict helps to strengthen relationship. This last element may seem paradoxical. Conflicts often destabilize and jeopardize relationships, and this is one of the reasons why we want to dodge them. But if well managed, conflict strengthens relationships more than damaging them. By showing the partners that their relationship can withstand disagreement, by allowing them to adjust the relationship when necessary, conflict increases the trust that the parties have in one another and in the relationship that unites them.